We're not going to have entertainment on the screen today.
I hope not. We have to do other things now. Okay, good morning, everybody. It's 9:30, so I'd like to go ahead and start the meeting if we could. Get my,
We're not going to have
Is it?
entertainment on the screen.
I hope not. What do you mean? We have to do other things now. Okay, good morning, everybody. It's 9:30, so I'd like to go ahead and start the meeting if we could. Okay. Get my, good? Okay. Is it? What do you mean? We have to do other things now. Okay, good morning, everybody. It's
Why are they doing that?
9:30, so I'd like to go ahead and start the meeting if we could. Okay,
Playing back.
good. Is it? What do you mean? We have to do other things now. Okay, good morning, everybody. It's
Why go again?
9:30, so I'd like to go ahead and start the meeting if we could.
Right.
Okay,
Playing back.
good. Is it? What do you mean? We have to do other things now. Okay. Try it now. That sounds better to me.
Doctor?
Mm-hmm. We're all set? Okay. All right, very good. So I'll call the meeting to order 9:32. And just to note that we do have John Block on the call and Danielle, I don't recall Danielle's last name. Dutton? Okay, thank you. And Alan Gregory is zooming in for us, or whatever this thing is. Yeah, it's zooming in. Is that everybody? Who's Manitou resident? Okay, very good. All right, then let's move on to public comment. Okay, the participant in the Zoom meeting that is called Manitou resident, can you please identify yourself?
I can tell you that's my wife.
Oh, okay, I think we were, I'm sorry, she just asked me to do that, that's why. Okay, if you want to identify yourself, I think we're just trying to prevent a show again, that's all. Yes, we don't want to see that again. So, I apologize if I did that incorrectly. Let's see, so let's move on to do we have public comment? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the September 2025 minutes? Do you all need to review them again? Yeah, you want to table it until you get a chance to read them? I thought I saw them. I read them, they were like 2 days after the meeting. Okay, we'll table this for next month. It's not a problem at all. Not a worry. Let's move on to financial reports, Anne.
Yes, and Holting's been a little slow. I did get July financials last night, so you guys don't have them. So we will, all I'll report is that on the July financial statements, we'll have a fund balance of $833,000 in the bank. And on the August bank statement, it's about the same, but we should have both July and August next month, hopefully. So sorry about that.
Okay, so we do not need a motion for that, and we will move on to old business. We do have Ralph and Audrey here at the top of this section to talk about some crane updates and some suggested projects for the URA board to consider in 2026. Do you need it, Audrey? You're in, right? No, Audrey. Is Audrey in it? When it comes to Zoom. Figured it out. I just needed you to get up. And run. That's how it works. Alan, did you have something?
I was just going to say I couldn't hear, but now I see that things are getting caught up, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're just here to let you all know some projects that we have identified as possibilities in the URA zone. Because we know that you are working on your budget for next year, and we just want to let you know what we've identified. Ralph, do you want to talk? You want me to?
Not yet.
Okay, so one thing that there's been a lot of talk about is doing some murals on the underpass at Highway 24 and the Manitou Avenue Cloverleaf. This project would be very large, very visible, and would need support from CDOT, which means a more in-depth process and also requires a city proclamation. But we do think it's possible. And what we'd just be looking at is it's a massive amount of space, so it would be fairly expensive. But we do think it would provide a huge impact, and, you know, almost everyone who comes into Manitou would see it. On the Dillon Mobility Hub, the west side of the building, I know that the city is interested in having a mural in this little spot. We think it's possible the city would chip in for that as part of their next phase of the Dillon mural. This is a fairly inexpensive project because it's not up high, it's not huge, but it would have pretty big impact because anyone who goes into that parking lot would see it. We think it would cost about $12,000. We do want to, you know, keep in mind that we are already putting a sculpture in there, so it would make it a little more dense as far as public art. At Fields Park, we have this little tiny bridge that has a little bit of graffiti underneath and some peeling paint. And we think this would be a lovely location for a senior capstone project from a Manitou High School student. It would be pretty inexpensive and a light lift, but we would be looking at student work, which is sometimes variable. But also it's small. And in the same vein, we have this utility box that has great potential for painting, as we can see by looking at it. That would be another really great, manageable student project.
I might chip in here that these are not just our ideas to present later to D14, that Colleen Johnson from the school district is on our Crane board as well. So she's been in on the conversation.
Yeah. And then there's some other projects that we're not bringing up specifically right now, like at Park Row or El Colorado Lodge, because we know that things are moving on those properties. But those are other kind of mid-range projects that we're interested in working on at some point. And then the last thing we wanted to talk about on a totally different topic is the juniper at the Holiday Inn Express that is partially blocked by that tree. And we've been receiving like a lot of mixed messages from the beginning, but at this point, that tree is not transplantable. We do know that there are people in the city who would be really upset if we cut it down. So if we wanted to move the juniper to a new location so that it was more visible, it would require building a new pedestal around 5,500, and then remove, deinstall, transport, and then decide what happens on that pedestal, because I don't think Holiday Inn Express would be happy to lose that sculpture and not have anything there. We do think we could get a permanent piece for around $10,000 to $15,000, or it could be an Art on the Avenue rotating sculpture, but that's about $1,200 a year to make that happen. I also know that some people would be interested in moving Spirit and Manitou to a new location and replacing the juniper. That carries the same costs, except in addition, you have to rent a crane for that one, and you have to close the street, which we know can get quite expensive. So we think that that's a less optimal solution. And then, of course, the city is totally with us. As that tree grows, they are happy to limit up and, bit by bit, get those lower branches off so that it's more visible as you're coming in from the east. Does anyone have questions for us?
Where in Fields Park is that box? I'm trying to,
It is at
Street
the
was-
far west end
on El Paso or the other street?
on El Paso. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
in from the sidewalk, it's between the sidewalk and the trail.
Okay.
Closer
okay,
to the
down
sidewalk.
close to the.
Yeah, Pat.
There was a lot of discussion through Crane on the utility boxes, and apparently they ended quickly because of CSU. And is that box in Fields Park part of that discussion?
I don't think so. I think this is a different thing. It is a thing where we would have to go through and get approvals,
Correct.
but, I'm
Well,
not too scared
My
of it.
suggestion is if we're going to go through the brain damage with CSU, let's just do all of them. And there's probably if I remember correctly, there was about 30 in town, right in there. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a
take the big
totally
bite.
different project, but
Yeah,
if
I
we were
understand.
going ahead and getting the approval, we may as well get the approval to do the boxes too.
That would be what,
I agree.
Well, we've had prior discussion about box reps, as you all recall. And if you go around the community in Colorado Springs and other
been
places,
done.
Denver, they're absolutely lovely.
Mhm.
And
And they last a long time
and they
too, I've
last a long
noticed.
time, and I think they're somewhat tag proof. I think they'll clean off the surface. I would, at some point maybe suggest whatever the partnership or consideration might be, that we rekindle some of that discussion and cost.
Yeah, we're totally down to do that. And then one more quick update. I don't know if anyone's noticed yet, the signs are finally going up in Fields Park. We had a massive delay with the printer, but they are mostly up and the plaques should be in this week too. Yeah. Finally.
Okay.
Okay. I was just gonna ask, does anybody else have any thoughts that are not included in any of this about possible art installs that you would want to share with Crane? Any mural ideas or anything like that?
I would,
That we weren't thinking about?
I would just ask, have we done an outreach to Concrete Couch? Like under the underpass kind of projects to do maybe some ceramics?
I haven't yet.
Not yet.
I do know that they're working on one at an underpass on Circle right now. We as Crane don't have very much experience with Mosaic. We think it will be more expensive, but
I know Steve is passing the reins to a new executive director with his relocation, and
mhm.
have you all reached out to have a relationship with them?
I have a relationship with one of their staff members. It sounds like they're still kind of
Evolving?
up and down and settling in right now.
Well, they can respond to any call as well, can't they?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, so anytime we have a call, and we would do a call for would we do a call for the?
If we did a mural, we would probably use one of the muralists who's applied to other projects.
Okay.
But if we wanted to look into the mosaic, I'd be happy to reach out to them and see what kind of costs that kind of project looks like.
Is there a possibility of painting additional, just plain painting the way that they finished the bottom of the One Love one with the purple around those areas? Just because the Gateway project that Concrete Couch did on the other overpass that goes to Garden of the Gods, the next one over, is just not very visible because it's so small. And painting even just a color would be even a darker color that would, you know,
Mhm.
be tag proof or
To make
whatnot,
it pop.
would just make it much more visible too.
The Grow Love mural has been finished.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, I thought you were asking if it had been. Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah, I
So
see what
how
you mean.
that bottom section was a cheaper way to cover ground. Just, if you just do those inserts, they're again sort of lost. Is there a way to just use paint?
There is, it's just more money, but just paint is less expensive than mural.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. That
Yeah.
the murals could be consolidated into those areas and then just paint would be the other areas.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if nobody has any other comments or questions, we'll just take this information and use it in our budget discussions going forward. Very good.
I might just add one quick thing about the reference to the mural site or place there on the backside of the Park Row Motel. That was identified last year as being a priority, that we really like that location and how visible it is for a good traffic area there of both pedestrians and cars on Becker's. And hopefully that's something that can resurface, but the communication with Park Row was lacking.
Yeah, I
And-
might say that I don't know that they would be open to that. He is an artist and unless he did it, I don't know that they would be open to that as an owner.
That was my impression as well. That's why we backed off.
Yeah, at some point when it changes hands, it needs substantial repair. And so that kind of investment, just because every part of that building has structural damage. It's in bad shape. So I don't know if that would be worth it, if that makes sense. Just 2 cents, that's all.
Okay. Anything else, Ralph, Audrey? Thank you for joining us this morning. All right, very good. Let's move on to the El Colorado Lodge Facade Improvement Grant Application Funding. Electra, do you want to leave this one for us?
Is the next one Paragon?
No, the next one is the facade improvement grant application funding. I think, did I?
Yeah.
I always do that every meeting.
Sorry about that.
I do. Paragon. Hi, John. John Block, welcome.
Hello, everyone. I think Rich is on the attendees as well, if we can add him.
Oh, I need to add him. Sorry, I'm not good at doing both of these.
Yeah, it's there. It says turn his camera on.
There we go.
Fantastic.
Good morning.
No, none of this is just discussion as options.
I just would like for him to start.
All right, well, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Rich, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
There we
Yes.
go. Yes.
Okay.
All right, very good. So we're looking for a little update from you all. And you have lots.
Do you want to start, John Michael, and I can fill in the gap?
Yeah, maybe you can fill in. Yeah. So yeah, I think we've met most of you by now, but my name's John Block. I'm the development manager on this project, 123 Manitou Ave, the old La Fun Motel. And then Rich Block is on the call as well, the president of Paragon. So we were asked to give a brief update on where we stand and what we're working on. We've been working with Electra a lot. She's been super helpful. So happy to dive into any questions that you have after the quick update. But we've been really busy trying to make something happen here. I think to give you a little bit more of the story, I know most of you are familiar with what we've done and what we're trying to do, but I'll try and round that out a little bit. But we presented an attainable project to Planning Commission a little over a year ago, where we were really trying to address the city's need. I mean, we've heard this from many in the community that housing's a desperate need, and so we tried to build a more efficient, less amenitized apartment building, basically targeting as low of rents as possible, which we were calling attainable. The biggest request as part of that presentation to Planning Commission was a request for a variance. We're effectively trying to be in line with some of the surrounding uses. Just to give you context, we were asking for a density of about 30 to 35 units, where the Holiday Inn Express across the street is in the 60 unit range. The current zoning just really prohibits the development of housing at scale. So in summary, we're trying to build multifamily housing at affordable rents, and really to do that, you have to have economies of scale. So despite the fact that the city wasn't able to do that, and there hasn't been a new apartment building, there's just, I think, reluctance to really adopt higher densities with Planning Commission, and we can touch on that if you'd like. So we've really shifted our focus since then on affordable housing, and we there's a couple different avenues for affordable housing, but the best avenue that we think for this site is the 9% low income housing tax credit from the state through CHAFA. So we aren't affordable housing developers per se that focus on this product type, because it's such a unique process. And so we were able to find a development partner. TWG is the name of the company, who's done projects across the country, but is also very experienced in Colorado. They've done 6 or 7 over the last few years in Colorado. And I'm not sure how much you know about the CHAFA application process, but it's very complicated. It requires a lengthy analysis on the existing product, where it is currently, where the incomes are in this certain demographic. And it's been super helpful having TWG help us. The way these applications work is they happen, at least on the 9% side, they happen once per year. And the LOIs are due in December. So the LOI is coming up here again. The applications are due in February, and then you hear by the end of April, early May. Most people close at the end of that calendar year. So if we were awarded last year we applied, during this application cycle. We unfortunately were denied. We would have closed in about December of 2025. So it's a pretty competitive process. Usually it takes 2 to 3 years, sometimes a lot longer to get awarded. And you can do a little bit of politicking to try and get when you try and put the application together. But we felt like we had a pretty compelling application last year. We had, many members of the URA were helping us put letters of support together. And so we got one from City Council. You all in the URA wrote one. We got one from the Housing Advisory Board, and then a number of local businesses and citizens. So we're planning on applying again this year, and we're hoping we can get a little bit luckier. But if we're approved, again, we would close around the end of 2026 and start construction shortly thereafter. That's definitely our preferred option right now. And again, we're hopeful we can be successful. The second option that we've been looking at a lot with Electra is really a townhome project. And we're still working through some of the details around what exactly that will look like and the price points and all that. But the main idea here is that we'd be working with a company called Fading West. They're based out of Buena Vista, Colorado. I may be able to even share my screen if you want.
Yeah, that would be good if you can share what that product looks like. And
Yeah,
maybe explain a little bit about what Fading West, what type of company it is, what the product is and such, as you described.
yeah. So can you guys see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, it's effectively a modular townhome project. We'd be looking at creating 43 units, and I can pull up the conceptual site plan at this moment. Again, it's still pretty early on. But the idea here is that they're built in a factory in Buena Vista, shipped to the site quickly. It's called setting when you set them on the site, and then they can be delivered in 4 or 5 months. You have to do a little bit of prep work for the site. You have to do a little bit of grading and parking lot, and there's likely going to be some sort of small retaining wall at the back of the site. But we're working through some of those issues. The idea here, though, is that they look really good. They're high quality, and they're much more affordable really than they would be if you were to build a traditional townhome project. So it's a good entry point for keeping residents, which I know is a concern for many in Manitou, as well as attracting some younger families and generating some younger kids that are going to the school system. So again, it's early innings, but we've connected with a handful of local brokers, and it sounds like these units would be very desired in the community. And Electra, again, has been super helpful, given her architectural background, and starting to evaluate the different options and site plans and trying to figure out the site. So more to come there, but the timing of this will likely be after we hear back from the affordable housing application in April next year. In other words, if we don't get approved, then we're going to try and go and more seriously pursue this. But we're trying to get our numbers together in the meantime, so we're ready to pull the trigger in the event we don't get approved in April of next year.
Can I interrupt just a quick second, because just for the board's benefit, I wanted to speak a little bit more to what Electra's helped us with. Quite frankly, she's a talent that you guys have in that. As we started to conceptualize trying to do a project like he's explaining with Fading West, Electra said, well, would you like me to just take a first stab at laying out the site to see how this works? And as an architect, she came up with a conceptual plan. Maybe you can share that too, John Michael, because that might be helpful to them. But quite frankly, as certainly I looked at it, but I think both my son and I, as we looked at it, I got pretty enthused, honestly, because as John Michael said, there's no guarantee about what may happen with Chaffa, whether we'll get awarded the 9% credits, but this to me becomes a really viable option. And I think there's a color plan. Maybe you can pull that one up that Electra did. And I wanted to speak to some of the components to this, because I hope you guys feel good about this too. But John Michael had mentioned there are a couple of factors here. We learned after actually we went through our variance process, and after we applied for the Chaffa 9% last year grant, or I'm sorry, the tax credits, that there is a bonus density that exists within Manitou for affordable housing development. So where we thought the current zoning capped the number of units at 43, if you do an affordable housing project, we actually can go up to 53. So it's like a 25% bonus. Um, that's one of the factors that we hope will play favorably into the application, the tax credit application this year, but we still don't know. So back to then, this second option, and I think what's important for us is that we run these past, if you will, simultaneously to a degree. Um, there are probably some limits in what we will do, but we're at the point where we now have taken this conceptual site plan that Electra has helped us produce. That site plan that you're looking at contains 43 units, but they're oriented so that you have units that will face Manitou Avenue. We've placed a kind of call it a center green. Could you find that color plan, Jim Michael, to show?
Yeah, I was
I
just
think
trying
that'll
to.
better show. Um, yeah, this is great. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So I don't know, maybe you can highlight some quick things for them. With this call it the Plan B option. This is the for sale product, but if you will, maybe put an arrow on that center green. I think most people can see that. But the idea is that this becomes, a congregating place. There'll be some very minor amenities, maybe, cookout area, an area where people can walk dogs and just socialize, right? I think it helps break up the site. We've got to think about stormwater drainage and things like that. So what we're doing is taking this architectural plan that again Electra helped start, but now trying to take the next steps with a civil engineer so that we can really verify dimensions of buildings and positioning of those buildings, and then similarly, start to design in more detail infrastructure. So how are utilities going to be routed? How are those drives going to come in? How many parking spaces will there be? As John Michael said, also, I call him John Michael, sorry. That's the way I raised him. But to the south, we know that there's a grade difference to the 24, and so we have that retaining wall. So how, where does that get positioned? How do we structurally do that? And then the goal for us is to develop call it a site development cost budget with the unit cost budget, and then ultimately be able to deliver units that, are something less, but a goal, honestly, mid fives, maybe $600,000. And that's where we've tried to get a sense of the market. So, I think it becomes a really good option. Now, this is all to be confirmed with, budgeting that we need to nail down. But what I'm so appreciative of is what Electra helped start with and come up with this layout that we're working with, that takes the footprints of what will be delivered from Fading West of these houses, places them on the site in a way that I think is pretty attractive. At least I hope you feel the same way. But we're not just placing all of our eggs in this tax credit CHAFA application basket, and we can be prepared so that if in April, and I hope that we are successful, but if we're not, we have this as a very real option. So I wanted to maybe just take that step back, really honestly, to formally thank Electra for what she's helped us, look at, but also maybe so you have, as a board, a little more appreciation for this option as well. And I apologize to interrupt you there, Jermichael. So you're welcome to pick it back up again.
No, I think you gave a good summary. I mean, yeah, again, we're still working through a lot of the numbers here around what the actual sale price is. Obviously, to keep them as affordable as possible is the goal. But yeah, the big question mark here is civil engineering. Again, as Rich mentioned, the site slopes pretty significantly up to 24. And so the retaining wall and how we engineer that along the southern part of the property back here, and maybe trying to do a two-tiered system. We're thinking through a lot of that. And then the site work itself is also quite expensive. So we're working through some of those details. So more to come there. But we do think it's a really interesting backup option. We don't necessarily need to get into it. There's a little bit more intricacies with owning and developing a townhome project with a HOA and community, basically setting up a community association that handles repairs and maintenance. And there are some horror stories from other developers across the state and that develop condo developments. And so we're trying to be very thoughtful around how we consider this scenario, but it could be a really interesting fit and fit a need for Manitou. And I guess maybe last thing I'll just quickly mention is we are still continuing to market the property for commercial and retail uses. Similar to the previous update, it's really slow for most companies. Companies are reticent to sign new leases given construction costs are still high, interest rates are still high, and there just hasn't been a lot of new development. In addition to that, there's a lot of vacant big box spaces. So the likes of Sprouts and Natural Grocers are now going into old Walgreens or CVS's. So we're still continuing to market it. We've got a local Colorado Springs broker engaged for that, but we just haven't seen a lot of activity. So really the affordable housing and the townhome projects are really the two top priorities at the moment. So happy to answer any questions or dive into any of those that you guys would like.
Okay, thank you, Barb.
Thank you, fellas. Are we supposed to refer to you now as John Michael?
Whatever's easier.
His mom and I do. I hate to say it, but he professionally goes by John, but I just can't help myself. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to share with you fellas, and this is very premature, but I was in a meeting over the weekend, a small group meeting with our prospective governor, Michael Bennett. And in his small group presentation to us, one of his top priorities in the state, should he become governor, is affordable housing. So I would suggest to you that you stay well in touch with what's going on within the state in total, because I think this is a great time, both in Colorado and, certainly nationally as well, to really pursue affordable housing and what that looks like. He shared that within the state of Colorado, broadly, and of course it's driven by Denver and Colorado Springs largely, but Boulder as well. But the median home price in Colorado was a $700,000 figure. And he said it's just slightly a step down in El Paso County, but certainly we've seen it rise. He said it was in a $600,000 figure per his analysis. So I think looking at these kinds of projects make a lot of sense if that's the avenue that we take. And I want to echo your thanks as well to Electra for the work that she did to just keep moving thinking along and ideas along on this site, because we've been wrestling with it for so long. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
You know what I was going to say, maybe back to the political support. So I know we've reached out to Senator Snyder, who I think several of you probably know. I think we're waiting to try and at least introduce the project and what we're trying to do in Manitou, because I think there may be ways in which he can help offer support for our efforts. So if any of you know him, well, certainly better than we do, we'd love to have further discussion to see if there are things either he can recommend or offer support to with our application and other.
Okay. Does anybody on the board have questions or comments?
This is Alan. I just have a quick comment. I mean, we should certainly be able to assist in getting getting Mark Snyder in contact with Paragon. I mean, Mark has been on the URA, was on the URA board for many, many years. So that shouldn't be a problem.
I have sent a email of introduction as well. I don't know that it's been responded to, but I can follow up on that again too.
Yeah, I sent a follow-up email, Electra. I was gonna try and call his office. I'm sure he's quite busy, but yeah, if anyone has a personal relationship, just to give a little bit more context, it does seem like Chaffa really appreciats any sort of upper level government support. So I think, yeah, getting some sort of letter of support or even just back channeling with Mark Snyder, I think will certainly help the likelihood of our application of getting approved, so far as we understand.
John, I was going to ask to, I've worked with a couple of groups that made Chaffa applications, and my experience, it takes 2 to 3 years to rise to the top. So your observation is accurate. And of course, however many projects are competing at the time. Have they visited Manitou Springs and the site specifically? Because that certainly makes an impression at some point, along with all the physical materials, to really see how they're trying to integrate a project into a community.
Are you referring to the Chaffa folks?
Yes. Yeah. Have they come here?
Not that I'm aware of. So we did talk about this a little bit in last year's application. It sounds like they will often reach out to the city directly, and they try and basically do their own diligence. They have not made us aware of any trips to Manitou, but I think many of them have visited Manitou and familiar with the town and kind of the charm and trying to get affordable housing there. But we personally have not taken them on a tour to the site or to Manitou.
I do know that Carolyn Trainey, who runs the Pueblo office, has a place up in Woodland Park and comes through Manitou very frequently and is very familiar with Manitou. And the Dolo people also were here for the housing board and the housing meeting. And yeah.
I was just going to say it might be worth having Housing Advisory Board reach out to Chaffa to come and talk affordable housing in general and that property in particular.
Okay, I will reach out to them and ask them. Yeah, that would be great. Mm-hmm.
Well, if I can maybe just offer another comment, I appreciate the support that the URA has continued to offer us. I know, well, like the URA, we are as anxious to see this develop as you all are. Appreciate your recent understanding, but I would offer that Electra, you tell us the frequency, but whenever you would like us to provide an update, we're happy to do that.
And do you want to move to the next agenda item?
Sure. So Farley had to step out. I think she had a call.
Oh, here
So
we go.
I will move us on to item C. Farley, take it from here. We're moving on to El Colorado.
Well, thank you all again. I'll sign off. Thank you.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Now, El Colorado Lodge Facade Improvement Grant application funding, and welcome Danielle. Danielle, can I get your last name for my notes? I can't remember your last name.
Dunn, D-U-N-N.
Oh, done. Okay. Thank you so much. I spelled it wrong. Okay. Very good. Okay. So where are we with this one, Electra?
So this one, we have two different pieces that we're going to talk about today. One is the facade improvement grant application, which we have received. They finished that portion that they're looking at, and the cost is much, much higher because the damages, Danielle can get into this, but from when they closed till when they received the property, there was tremendous damage. So they had more than what they anticipated. But so the first conversation is about the $25,000 matching grant that they applied for. They sent the rest of the things. And so that's for this portion. And then also we have a number of new URA members who haven't necessarily seen what they are doing. So a little bit of an update for those members as well. That's the two elements.
Okay, are we gonna share this? Is Danielle gonna share screen?
I
Yeah,
can
do
if
you want
you-
to
if
talk
you're
about-
ready.
or
Oh, where do you want me to start, Electra?
why don't we do the
Yeah.
update for the grant application first
Okay.
with the board, and then we can do an update of the full project with you, Danielle, in just a second. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We're doing the update first on
Do we
Grant-
want to do the update first or the grant application?
the grant application.
Oh, so she can go. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Danielle, I apologize. I said that in reverse. So you're going to do the update first for the board members, and then we'll do the grant application after.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Can you guys see that? Does that work? Okay, cool. Okay, so this is just my inspiration. We do have some stuff that obviously you can see from the street that we've been doing. I'm just gonna kind of go over the interior, or I'm sorry, the exterior. So really trying to bring that historical Adobe aspect to it. These are just images that we were finding throughout the internet on it, but white, bright, but like the doors, we would like to have a pop of color. So we do have 4 colors, which I can run over here. These are the 4 historical colors that we want to have throughout the property as door colors. And then you have just, again, nice wood beams, nice clean, everything in the front patio wise. The intention is potentially a mural across the main street on those 6 buildings. This would obviously be budget prohibited or dependent. But these are some of the inspirations that we were looking at. The common area, which would be in the backyard and in front of each of the cabins, would have their own little space there as well. This is what we're looking at, building something very similar to these right here in the back. There's already a pergola there, so we would just work off of what's already built and then making it really nice. The pool area, clean that up, fix that up. And then just have little fire pits that are easy to turn on and off. Some of that stuff could potentially be built in because there's already beautiful built-in fire pits within the home or within all of the cabins. So bringing that same feel on the exterior, putting in this packed concrete pool area. To be updated depending on what we can do with that area. We're still working that out. And then just some of we're gonna build a game area that would be right where that play area is potentially. We're looking at putting like a little tiny putting green so people could play. Bocce ball, some small stuff like that to give a common area to our guests. And so that's the exterior of the property. So I can stop there unless we wanted to go back to anything specific or you wanted to see the inside. Oh, actually, Electra did ask me to share. Let me pull that up really quick. A few of the photos from the interior that we've done so far. So this is just one of the cabins that we're doing. So oops, sorry. Oh. You can see this, right? I'm putting I've changed the screen.
So these are actual photos?
These are actual, yeah. So this is the cabin 4 right now. What we did is we just did some painting, and some flooring, and we are wanting to put this this is just a stencil. Murals are very expensive, as you know. So we just went with, we have about 6 or 7 different stencils. And the 4 different colors that I showed you, they are all historic. My mom's an architectural designer, been on the cover of Lux magazine and all that. So I design it and she comes in and gives her stamps of approval and tells me, no, this isn't historic enough or whatever. So, we we have a very famous architect helping us here. So yeah, so we just want to have El Colorado, from what we hear, depending on the dialect, actually means the colorful. And so that's what we want to lean into, is the historic and bringing fun, bright colors to make you feel cozy and warm and excited. And so that is here. We've got a little kitchenette with a mini fridge built in here. We kept the fire pit, or the fireplace. These are all closed off, so they are not usable. But yeah, so this is just a quick update of what it looks like on the interior of our units right now.
The other update, Danielle, if you could talk about 2 things. One
Yeah.
is the touches that you're adding in and the connection to local stuff, as well as the pot shop mortgage issue
Yes.
and plans for the parking lot. Those are the other 2 questions.
Yep. So the thing that I'd like to bring into this property is actually partnering with people that are owning a small business within the area. So if a guest wants a romantic package, we would go and partner with a local winery, which I already started kind of talking to one. It was just the manager or the woman on staff. But there's a winery downtown, and so I would like to, potentially partner with them, have a local wine that we could have delivered to the guest's room, as well as maybe like a chocolate shop or a dessert shop that I could partner with and provide something like that, maybe even a flower shop, and have everything be local that gives the guest this nice local community feel. Potentially even working with, I'm gonna be putting books in the cabins. And so with that, we would be putting up like I have a couple that I found on Amazon, but it's a Pikes Peak book, the best hikes of Colorado, those types of things to have people be pretty excited about the area. So potentially finding a author or a bookshop that would want to partner with us on that. We could even keep the books in there, and if somebody wants it, we'd have the little price tag on it, and they could purchase it at that point and help give another stream of revenue to both us and the local shop. Just small stuff like that. Really be local and have that form of community, because this is a staple property to this community, and that's our hopes here. The other thing is the pot shop next door. They've been renting our parking lot, and when we went to purchase, pretty much said at renewal we will be signing, and they are saying that they're not. So they were at one point covering 50% of our mortgage. That is no longer the case. So money is now extremely tight. We are going to have to come up with something else for that lot. So Electra actually suggested a Christmas tree lot or something along those lines for the month of December to help us with some income, because they will stop paying as of December 1st. And then the thought process is we've already been approved to do food trucks on the property. So turning that into something really fun, that would have us have the ability to have a few different food trucks on there, allow our guests to have meals throughout the day, and then help just bring something fun and different and funky to the area. So yeah, that's the update with both of those.
Yeah, we talked about like a Christmas market, like a Chris
Mhm.
Kindle market and some other ideas, but open to obviously others. But
Mhm.
okay. That's the update.
Any questions? Pat?
I'm gonna hang around. Are we moving to the proposal questions then?
Oh, we will once she leaves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I only have one question, I think, for Danielle. Did you close on the mortgage? Is the ownership switched?
Yeah, we bought it, we closed just before July 1st. I can't remember if it was the June 28th or something like that, but just before, July 1st.
Yeah, I had those questions left over from our last meeting. Thank you, Danielle.
No problem.
The repairs turned out to be quite a bit more than what you guys had anticipated, and the condition of the buildings was worse.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had gotten under contract almost the beginning of January and did our due diligence, everything at that point. And as you know, SBA loans don't always go as fast as you'd like, so it took us about 6 to 7 months to close. And in that time, the owners had completely stopped caring, let it completely, it was already a bad property before, and they made it even worse. So everything that we budgeted, was of irrelevance at that point because the property's in even worse shape than before. So we will have a lot less money to be able to do the exterior. We also have only 12 months to use the construction loan that we got with the SBA. And if we don't use it, we lose it type situation. And so we are behind schedule. And there is a chance that we won't even get close to what we were thinking to do. So our priority is interior at this moment. Because if it isn't bringing us income, it is of irrelevance to us for a while.
Yes, Darlene.
Hi, Danielle, Darlene Kennedy.
Hi.
I'm a new member. What is the exact name of the property owner?
Of us, we're El Colorado LLC, I believe.
El Colorado LLC. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna keep El Colorado. Right now it's El Colorado Lodge and El Colorado Village online. Once we start, the marketing plan here is we have to keep the doors open and use, you know, the existing horribly kept up. They're almost uninhabitable, but we are able to still rent them out. But we are doing that right now, and we're using El Colorado Lodge as that. And then we're going to rebrand to El Colorado. We've purchased the website it's called elcoloradostays.com. And so we're going to be rebranding it to that. And so as the new cabins as the cabins are renovated, we're going to change them to casitas and put them onto a different platform.
Okay, so the owner is El Colorado LLC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And how many partners do you have? You've got like
There's
9.
There's 6 of us in total. My husband and I, we live in California, but the 4 other partners, they're there in person. They're all from Colorado Springs and Manitou Springs.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions
For Danielle.
for Danielle?
Well, we don't have any for Danielle. I just wanted to thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you,
right.
Danielle.
Bye.
Thank
I should hop, right?
Bye.
Because we have a short finance department over here.
Uh,
The name is important because that's how we have to endorse the checks.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we have to know that. clearly.
It's on paperwork.
What? I know.
May not say LLC. Lex Sanchez, who is doing the
I
paperwork,
saw it on here.
is running the construction and he is like so strapped. So I don't know. He like getting information
Oh, yeah, it is.
and getting everything from him was.
Okay.
Packet, yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Yep.
All right, so let's go on to the grant application funding topic. I'll share that. Anne or Electra, what do we? So we need to approve the,
Yeah, I guess the question is, they put in an application initially for, they asked for 50,000. And then the first one was for 43. They have more invoices, so they sent additional invoices over. It's over 50,000 now. And so they're requesting the full match amount of 25,000. And, yeah, I mean, I think this is, from everything that we've discussed, is one of the top priority projects in the URA, just because it's literally like one of the best projects in the URA. And what they're up against is a lot of construction issues. Like the walls of every single building there's rats and snakes. Well, the snakes are there because of the rats and, vice versa. But, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's rustic living from a long time ago. But I mean, they're doing the work and they're getting things done, and it's a young, and I mean, today's my birthday and I'm 52, so I could say young, but they're all in their 30s. And I think that's young. But I'm really grateful that they're putting that energy into a place like this and that they have a vision to preserve it according to the historic character of it. And Anne has also said to pursue some historic grants as well. So I've brought that up to Danielle and whatnot to help them in any way possible. It's such an important project, and the funding and what their anticipation was in January versus now is shifting. So they're trying to figure out ways to support themselves through the winter when things are slow and all of those types of things as well. So some of the things Danielle's talked about are more of like longer term leases too, for people like we've talked about, people who come here like traveling nurses, or I mean, I know CC professors come for a certain period and will rent for a period. And it's just a kitchenette, so you can kind of function with that. So they're looking for those types of things over the winter, just to continue to bring and pay that mortgage so that they continue to do the work, because everything sort of has shifted according to their original plan. So that's where they are at. And I think that their intention is really good and really for Manitou.
yeah, my view from Adams with the work they're doing is that they're doing the work. Like they're putting new electrical boxes on every building, so they're upgrading everything. And I mean, it's really pretty impressive to watch, considering the condition of those buildings. So
Yeah, and so much that you don't even see
yeah,
like that. Like every single one needs to be rewired.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the guys rewiring. I did want to mention also with the state historic grants that maybe they need to reach out to Sarah Lobato over at the county about the enterprise zone credits.
Okay, what's her name?
Sarah Lobato, and I'll send you her phone number, but she manages the enterprise zone. And it'll probably be a year out before that takes effect, but they would have to file now to get it. Okay, so the question then is, we need to, oh, thank you. Yeah, please do.
Thank you. Again, me being new, I just have a question. I was reading this and came to our check sheet. Who monitors the permits and the final inspections and things for us? Because it says that we need to.
I can look into their permitting and whatnot at Pikes Peak Regional Building.
Is that how that happens with every one of these?
I haven't, but I will. I mean, we did look into it with Park Row just because Park Row was kind of weird and they weren't doing anything.
Mhm.
but I will make sure that they actually have. it
Could
done.
you do that for us and let us know
Absolutely.
next? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can, I mean, I can do it right now too, actually. But yeah. I know they do have a permit, but I will get the actual permit for them for renovations. Mhm.
Anybody else? Okay, so we need approval of the check of the program. Well, it says application funding 25,000. Oh, I see. Okay, so we need a motion to approve the application process
Yeah, of the profit? Yeah. Okay.
of the
So, and I would
application.
make that motion.
So are we approving the payment? Are we?
No, we're approving the application for
Their
full body site
application.
improvement grant.
I think the way that it was written, I was confused. I see. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Did somebody second? We have a motion.
Second that.
Alan second, Alan Dulwich seconds. Any further discussion?
Yes, I think the name should be changed. The property owner name on the application is Empowered Capital Hispano Lex Sanchez. I think that needs to be changed to El Colorado LLC.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve with that change? Thank you. Second. I don't know why I just did that. All in favor with the changes stated. Sorry.
Aye.
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 I'll take a nap after this. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, very good. So now where are we? Now we want to approve. The check was already.
Is an administrative item. If Electra will let me know when all of the invoices have been received and will let me know to issue a check and to whom and to where.
Because we've
Okay,
already
I'll-
made that
so that-
approval.
Okay, I'll
We've
make
already
sure
made that approval.
Yeah.
Okay,
We don't
so-
need an approval
Right.
for that. That's
I will
administrative.
get those from Lex today. It's been like he sent me those and I,
Right.
and it's, obviously they're all running on all different avenues at the same time.
Right.
But I'll reach out to Danielle and ask her for that.
Yeah, and
that
just
information.
email me that you have everything
Okay.
you need and a check is approved. And again, to whom and to where.
Okay. All right, very good. Then we can move on to streetscape banners. Kendra proposal. Has everybody had a chance to look at that? Let's just open this up for discussion. Any thoughts?
I can't have any thoughts because I'm on the the
Correct.
Manitou Springs Community Foundation
You
board, so
can have
I will
them.
just recuse myself.
Yeah, you just have to keep them to yourself. Pat?
I think I like the whole concept of be kind. It's very nice. And I really like people being reminded to be kind. And we had tabled this before because we didn't have enough information. This seems like a very inexpensive way to remind everybody to play nicely. So I have no problems with it at this stage.
Darlene?
I do have just one question. Is this within the mission of our URA?
Well, the banners are because of the streetscape.
And
Um,
this is not our first run at banners. We've had several. So we've set a precedent.
The other ones say buy local. They say, First Friday. I mean, if it says,
Live, work, play.
yeah, well, that's one that's more general. So
Mhm.
that's more like in the be kind. It's not necessarily, it's not live, work, play in Manitou. I think it falls under streetscape and the same way the planters do. Like the more occupied, there's a number of areas that are open, like especially around the El Colorado, there's a number of posts that are open. And then there's a couple other sections where there are posts open. So the more present, so I think it does sort of loosely, the same way art does, and the same way the planters and flowers do. I think that it falls within that realm of the pedestrian zone and scape. It's not specific to Manitou like the messaging isn't. So I would say yes, in that sort of like nebulous way that art does.
Mhm. I do have a question. There's 12 banners. I'm confused by that. There's 12 banners and 6 of them are in the URA and 6 of them are in the rest of town.
12 that he wants to put up,
It says there's 12 banners.
that he wants to do, and 6 in the URA, which is
So we,
just looking at empty spots.
so shouldn't we pay for a quarter of the cost and not half the cost?
I'm just confused why there's only 12 banners total and 6 of them are in the URA and 6 are in town.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, maybe that's it.
I think what he's done is split the cost breakdown at the very bottom in half. So we would actually only be contributing half. So we get 6 and we pay for 6.
And the rest of the town gets 12.
And no, there's 12 total.
So the rest of town gets 6.
So 6 goes in the rest of town, 6 goes here, so there's some consistency.
You don't
We
think
get
that's
6,
odd?
they get 6. We're paying for half.
Yeah.
They're paying for half.
I'm not splitting about the money. I'm just thinking that it's weird to put 6 banners up in 3/4 of the town and 6 banners in the URA. When there's 75 banner poles.
I don't
There
know
should be
about
more in the
that.
city and not in.
Yeah, I'm just,
Maybe Ken can add some more banners on as he changes the proposal. I don't.
well, I do think the bears are cute. The design is cute, so.
It's a titty.
And it's not, an exorbitant amount, and what do you all think?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, our share is half of half. So it's basically $200. I think,
Is it? It's.
yeah, it's,
Yes.
well, no, but if you look at the printing, 12 banners, 856, URA share 213, that's a
Okay,
quarter of
that's
it.
right.
So I think they're being pretty fair. I like the idea of having them at the gateway. If there are more there, I think that's fine. It's-
Maybe that's the intention.
So-
213 plus 225.
Yeah.
Does it come up to 613?
well, then there's the artwork.
Oh,
The printing,
half of that too. Okay,
yeah, I'm
gotcha.
not sure why they didn't just print it in half. That doesn't make any sense to me. This is from his email and
Okay, we'll just
It's-
do it, right?
He likes detail.
I don't understand.
But they're only up for 9 months and then they go away.
no, they're like the other ones. We have them up. They're not like the ones that have pictures of kids graduating and you have to take them down. These
Well, I
ones.
thought he
stay
had
up.
a 9-month
Well, I mean, we can,
time frame,
we could leave them up. Or they
9 to
could be
12
changed.
months.
Like the other ones, they're made of like a really durable. They just like fill your eye area and kind
Mhm.
of frame the pedestrian way, especially if you don't have trees. It just sort of brings that down. a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, my
Okay.
point is, should we solicit other future ideas as rolling replacements if we're
Oh.
gonna do programs like this? That, we have some fresh perspective ongoing.
We also have more areas. We have more banners we could put up too. There's more light posts. You could do them every one if you wanted to. There's, we could continue to just add them. Or we could just have them every other, like they are spaced currently, which they're not quite even because of the layout.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the proposal of,
$113.
I move we approve this.
is there a
proposal.
second? Pat seconds. Any discussion, further discussion? Alan? Oh, were you seconding? Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? I didn't see anybody. Thank you.
Oh, wait,
Motion,
who was the first and second? Sorry, I missed that.
Alan motioned, Pat seconded.
Ellen motioned.
Okay. Go. All right. Moving on, and draft budget.
Right, so I'm required to provide you a draft budget by October 15th, so this is it. And I think, I went back and forth, Electra, and I think the version that you distributed showed property tax revenue of 200 and some thousand. I had reduced that to 196,303.
I can send the new one out when
Yeah.
you, after this meeting.
And I
so-
think that's the only change.
Okay.
There is a state statute in effect that limits property tax revenue over a 2-year time frame to 10.5% increase. And at least the initial information on the preliminary AV that I got from the county showed a pretty large increase in AV. So I think the 10.5% is going to come into effect, but I have not yet gotten Becca to respond, so, but I think this is close. And I really didn't change much, as you can tell, from the estimated 2025. And what we probably ought to discuss at some point is whether the murals that we're considering there's enough money in here to cover those.
From Crane, the proposal
Yes.
from Crane.
Yes. So that's the only thing I think that we might want to change. This is just preliminary. It is what Electra will use to make the presentation to City Council on, I think it's October 28th.
28th, yeah.
But this will change potentially many times before it's approved by you all in December, at our December meeting. So that's my only comment.
Okay, so then we don't need to necessarily go through this at this point and talk, this is
Starting
protocol.
Would say if there are changes you want to see and you know those now, it would be good to surface those. But I probably won't change this for what Electra's going to do with council. And we can discuss it again in November and then finalize it in December. So, yeah.
Okay. I guess, yeah, the mural question is the only question, if that needs to be extended to do a gateway piece as well.
That, and I think Farley had indicated, we show the remaining Spirit of Manitou sculpture all in 2026. And you had suggested that there might be some expense that would move into 2025.
There already is, and there will be. So the art call is $250. The jury stipends, 300. The artist stipends, that's what comes up in December. We always give them the artist stipend before. And then the remainder gets paid the following year because they don't get payment until the sculpture's installed.
Right.
So they get the money down in the beginning, usually December. And it's December because they're not chosen yet until early December.
And we did pay for the base, right?
Correct. And you've already
Already.
paid for the
Yeah,
pedestal.
so that's already in 2025.
Yeah, so
So-
those four things total 15,672. So the balance for that project would be 37,325 is what
Okay.
would be for 2026
Okay.
to still be expensed for the sculpture in Dillon. So if you want something for the mural, for the underpass or the bridge or any of those other projects, we need to build into that. Probably depends on what project.
Well, we do have under streetscape, which is the murals,
Mm-hmm.
20,000. So
I
the
think-
question would be, should we increase that 20,000 to something higher?
Yes, exactly. So, because I don't think we're going to do any more signs. We have signs noted in there too, the
Right,
art signs, but I
right.
think we're done with that.
Okay.
So any increase would be in there.
So if you wanted to go 20, instead of 20, do 50, if you want to do the big project, or if you just want to partner with the city, but we haven't gotten a confirmation on the city doing that. But they are talking about doing it in the next phase of Dillon, so I think there's a good chance that they'll do it.
I would suggest we double that, Ann.
To
Make it
40?
40.
Okay, and I will make those changes.
Just as a
so you can
placeholder.
Get them in your
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about sort of our four priorities in later discussion real quick, just so I can have those listed in the budget conversation.
Al?
Yeah, I just have a question, and there's a line item for the Becker's Lane Bridge and the WAP project. Are those historic, or do we still anticipate that there might be?
No, I just never changed the,
Oh,
the line items. I could certainly take those out. That's a good point.
I
Yeah,
like them.
You like them in there?
I do. Every
It's
time I read them,
history.
it's a reminder of
It
what we've
is.
actually done
It is.
when we hear that we do nothing.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, we did a lot.
so I'll leave them in.
Yeah, leave them in
Okay.
there.
I was just
Never
curious if we're going to see anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did a lot.
it's looked this way for like 5 years, so it's historic.
That's,
Yeah. That's
I
right.
like it. Okay. Yeah, right.
Okay, mini girl.
Okay, very good. So, okay, so you're gonna suggest moving, go from 20 to 40 for now, just as a placeholder? Is that okay with everybody for, at this time? Okay, very good. Yeah, all right. That's all I'm looking at right now. How about everybody else?
Yeah.
Have some thoughts? Darlene, do you have any thoughts on it? Okay. Thoughts? Okay. Do we need to, we
Nope.
don't need any
This is just
procedure?
information.
This is just you. Okay. All right. So we acknowledge in the minutes that you presented us with the budget. Excellent. Okay, then, if everybody's done with that topic, we will move on to the executive director report.
I think we've covered your report.
Yeah, I guess the only thing, I mean, I've done all the administrative stuff. I've worked with Paragon a lot this year or this month to try to get things moving. And El Colorado, I guess the only additional pieces, Paragon has a question as far as the exterior of those buildings. So the way that the Fading West buildings are built, they're built in a factory. And so they have double fire protection and they're built to the most current IRC specifications. And so each wall is a double wall. They're super, super well built because they have to move. And the interiors are completely finished minus appliances. The exteriors can be finished any way that you want them to be finished. And so they could be siding, they could be more traditional type houses. They could be stucco. Those are kind of the two options. And what people want is really the question, and what the market will provide and what the URA wants as far as the visual goes is really the question. I did bring to, because they're built in mass, they could finish them by third quarter next year, just as an update from Fading West. The projects that I've worked on those with, they're just it's a quality building product. It's built really well. The other piece to know is that, like the doors and different things can be adjusted. I had a question about roof terraces and things like that. It's only 2 stories, but I guess what do you guys want to see there as far as Paragon? If we were to do a townhouse house piece, that's part of like the guiding piece too.
Can they actually move these with stucco on the outside?
No. So how this works, so if they're sided, they would be sided in the factory. If they're stuccoed, what they would be finished to the point where you would stucco them. And then they're put in place. And then the way that they're put in place too is they can be staggered up the hillside. So you don't need a big flat. It actually saves a tremendous amount in the siding or in the cost of site work. The person that Paragon has brought in to actually do the civil planning, which is the drawing that you saw. His name is Chad, I can't pronounce his last name. It's Polish, Rodzanski, something like that. He's a Manitou resident. He has 3 children, 3 daughters who've gone through Manitou schools, and he's a really good civil engineer. And so what they're looking at is any kind of impediments to putting driveways in and utilities in, and where all those things would come from, and if there's any significant cost that would arise within their due diligence. So that's what they're looking at right now. And then the cost of various things like the retaining wall, if they can stagger it, it changes the cost. They're also looking at streetscape pieces like a garden, like a rain garden swale in the front that would sort of break up the streetscape. So if somebody's facing the street, their house, then there's plantings and trees and things like that, and it feels more natural. And it's broken up the facade, those pieces. And he also took my layout and made sure that fire trucks can turn around. And I mean, I did that initially, but then he actually like ensured those things. Yeah.
I would just think Electra within whatever their budget constraints are, if this concept moves forward, that they would perhaps just present, much as they did earlier with some other concepts, 2 or 3 exterior finish ideas that we could kind of cogitate on.
Okay. I'll ask them
And,
to do that.
you know, and certainly we would want it, I don't know what fit means, but, you know, kind of build into the look in the community as we evolve, you know,
Yeah.
And
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 get away
al-
from Motel Row
Yeah.
Right.
idea. And, you know, just have some choices that we could kind of talk about, but
I am also steering them away from a more modern type design because Manitou has much more historic sort of bent. I think from where they are at is, and if you look at the Fading West site, you can really see what they've done. Now, the stucco is a different option, but that is an option, and it doesn't really change the cost significantly. It's just done here versus there.
you know, I don't think you want it to look like New England.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
But to your comment though, if you're going to attract young families, there may be a modern bent to that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the Fading West is a fantastic company, and the styles, you can see on their website, the way that they do styles.
And you know, if you look at Gold Hill Mesa,
Yeah,
the different builders that came in there, and
Yeah.
they're not, you know, that was more than one builder in that whole community, but they made it all integrate
Yeah.
in a nice fashion, but they didn't all look the same.
Yeah, the one thing we don't want to do is hamstring the HOA in the future either.
Yeah.
I have several friends that own townhomes that are stucco.
Yeah.
And now the HOAs are having a horrible time with the maintenance of the stucco. It's 20 years old and all needs to be redone. So I think it's a business decision for them also
Yeah.
and the HOA.
Yeah, they've also reached out to a couple realtors in town just to kind of get a read on it. And, but the cost, they don't know the cost exactly where it's gonna land because there's the cost of the unit, and those can be modified somewhat, like they can have porches, they can have little stoops, they can have little decks or, you know, different things on them, or, and I did posit the question about a roof terrace because that location, you see everything. It could be fantastic. So those types of things. And I'm also pushing for a little bit more amenity package, which then brings the cost. If they're going to be spending that much on a house, you should have a place that is a beautiful place to gather too.
Yeah,
So,
I'd suggest, you know, this came up earlier as a suggestion, but they might take a look at the We Fortify project for Harrison School District.
Yeah.
Because those are, as I recall, fabricated housing as well that they created for the school district.
So the 3 options that they're looking at they're really looking at are the more dense affordable housing LIHTC project, which is the Chaffa. The second one is another DOLA thing. So I made the connection for them through DOLA, through people that I knew, and we had a meeting on this week, last week, I don't remember. But that meeting DOLA also brought up that DOLA can help with a townhouse affordable project for families. That would be a for sale project. And so the application for that, it would have to come after they were denied for the LIHTC. So if they're denied for the LIHTC, they can go for the affordable housing project if they can make a pencil. And then if that doesn't work at all, they can go for a market rate. So there's actually kind of three versions of what's possible within this realm of these types of projects. So that's the three that we have discussed and where they're looking at for this project. But also it would be, you know, planted more heavily, those types of things, so that there's trees and there's all of those types of things as well. So. And Fading West has also offered if we wanted to do a tour of Fading West too, just to see their projects. It is in Buena Vista, but that is certainly an option too. Anyway, okay, I think that's it. And then as far as the other updates, I've been working with El Colorado to try to figure out some of their issues. Reaching out for pedestrian, the four priorities that I have, and this is where I'm at, but this can shift according to what the board wants, is number one, getting Paragon developed. Number two, or Lafon developed. Number two, helping El Colorado in whatever way possible to make sure that they're successful, because I think that will significantly change that section of the Urban Renewal Authority, of our area. The third piece that I've been really focused on is anything that is artwork based and helping improve that. And then the fourth piece is the pedestrian way, anything to help make it more pedestrian friendly, and working with People Centered Colorado and the Pikes Peak, the biking area, and all those other pieces. So really focusing on those four priorities as far as from the executive director perspective. But if the board wants us to focus on additional pieces or other priorities, we can add that in, but that's sort of where we would be going as far as where I'm going anyway, but I can shift direction.
I just had a question. You apparently reached out to Moe's Diner.
I just had that question.
Oh, yeah.
Were-
So I
Were they
sent a letter.
interested
I've
in?
sent a letter. I've also sent a letter, and I sent an email, and I sent a corporate email to Loaf and Jug as well. So I've sent some emails and letters and things for that streetscape area. The Loaf and Jug is personal because I fell in a hole and twisted my foot. So I want them to like work on their, I want them to work on
Then
their.
you'll send the other letter.
Yeah. So, but I sent that one because I was like, you could make this just as beautiful. And right now you have broken concrete, and I mean, it was a friendly letter. I'm happy to provide that, but I'm trying to contact them to update the scenery there. And then Moe's, I've sent a letter. I haven't heard anything yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just, to delve into fantasy a little bit, we had talked at one time, you know, one of my concerns is all the vehicles parked by the auto repair place. And we had sort of talked about maybe approaching the owner of the adjacent property, whose name I won't say, but possibly to see if they would they would consider some kind of a,
I think Harley can speak to that. We have done that.
oh,
So I have the lease on that lot, and I asked said person if they would allow Sheldon's to rent the back 40 from him, not me. And he said that it would immediately break my lease and I would have to renegotiate my lease.
Yeah, the other piece would be talking to El
Yeah.
Colorado is a possibility, but I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. Their works with that. So yeah, that's still in the hopper.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't want to help. So,
What's going on with
go ahead.
what's that other property that sold? The old other garage there by you?
Oh, the den.
Is anything
But
happening?
then,
Is anything happening there?
yeah, they're doing the healing place. So the backside of that is like a mushroom psychedelic healing ketamine clinic. The front side of that is they've got just kind of a garage situation. They're not doing a lot, but I will reach out to them too. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Electra regarding her report? Yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Okay, moving on to new business. We'll start with the URA vision discussion and do you want to roll with that? Who you designed it, didn't you? Why don't you start, Pat? Tell us what your thinking
Well,
was.
I've been involved in a few groups that decided they wanted to do mission statements and vision statements and that kind of thing. In general, a vision statement, and I sent this, we developed this with a little worksheet. What are you going to do with it? Let's use Stephen Covey's begin with the end in mind piece. What are you going to do with a vision statement? Is it a marketing piece? Is it a logo? Is it a motto? What are you doing? And if once you answer that, then you can go on with some specifics. I think the other piece with visioning statements, whether it is for a board or a team, is it has to be very succinct and short. A vision or a mission statement shouldn't be more than a sentence. So that's why we put this together a little bit to see if we even want to do this.
I just wanted to address the vision statement piece. So the purpose as far as in planning goes for a vision statement is basically to build consensus to bring everybody behind you so that you're creating a general idea to lay out what that imagined desired future is for whatever it is. So it needs what you've got in there: positive present tense language highlights uniqueness, inclusive people focus, excellence, quality of life, and time period. I mean, those are sort of like the general things for visioning. And it's used really just to build consensus on what the purpose of doing things are here. So. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think we should start with what Pat was asking is, do we think we need a vision statement? Does everybody feel that that's something necessary to do our work? I think that that's a no. Yeah,
We have
okay.
a purpose. I mean, within the realm of how we've been set up, we've got rules of engagement, and that's sort of functions.
I was looking at this morning and I actually agree. I'm not sure that we need a vision statement at this time because I feel like when I look back on the work that we've been doing over the last, I think I'm in my 20th year right now on this board. And when I look back on it, I feel like the projects that we have done have met the goals and objectives of our URA. Like I was looking at them actually from the budget and Adams is not on there, but Adams is included as well. And I feel like this board has done really well at tracking and going, moving forward with the mission. Well, the mission as listed on the website. But I do think we're probably, well, I suppose when we talk about budget, that's when we're going to really talk about our priorities again. I mean, we know that we've got El Colorado in play. LaFun might be moving forward again. Park Row seems to not be happening right now, but it could. But I feel like going into 2026, really what we do with the budget is going to inform how we envision the URA, at least for 2026.
A mission statement could function as well with just a list of goals and priorities for the next year too,
Mhm.
as one possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It's the flip side of the coin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, we're
That's
sort
all
of
it
like
is.
talking about the same thing. We have a mission. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I guess I would argue we have an urban renewal plan, which we are obligated to use as our direction.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure there's a need for anything else, frankly.
And I think maybe that's what I was trying to say, but I say that I think that the budget is that's what explains what we're doing. That where we put our money is what we're doing. So the way we set up the budget for 2026 is the guide for how we're moving forward.
Yeah, I guess for me, the clarification that would be beneficial is I have the priorities that have come up and surfaced through the discussions, but are there additional priorities that members of the board have that they'd like me to pursue within the URA? To help benefit, the mission.
I think we're already focused on the two that are absolutely the most important. And a lot of it's just because we only have 7 years left. So our time is short. We've got to like let's spend this money in a way that is impactful for the city of Manitou Springs. I mean, both of these projects could be very, very useful and helpful to the city's budget and to the school district as well, which is also in sort of a crisis moment. So both of them would generate additional property tax. And also the El Colorado Lodge would generate additional lodging tax. So there's just a lot of bonuses. Plus it's a historic property. So it hits so many markers, So let's put our money there.
Ma'am? Thank you. And I do appreciate your proactive stance with the Mo's building and those buildings, the Loaf and Jug. I think both of those, I don't know Loaf and Jug, but the one that has Mo's and the horrible building next to it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that soon something will change with the ownership of that property. Hopefully before we're gone, we can do something good with that. Cause it sure needs it.
Yeah, I would agree. And also the other one, I mean, they're further down the priority list, but like funneling the energy makes it more diluted. So trying to focus on getting some real wins under our belt is where I'm at. But the ones that are down the list are, for instance, the Santa Fe, which straddles Colorado Springs and Manitou. There's some others that are there that could use some help. Park Row, I think we've sort of like run that to the end of where we can go with where the owner is willing to participate.
Yeah.
And so that's where we are there. That's fine. And there's other things too within the budget. There's street trees that we haven't used. That's something that like that El Colorado area that is hot with the wall and they're cleaning it up, which is fantastic, but we could use some of that budget for trees and they're totally open to that too. There's a couple other spots as well where some more additional shade and street trees could go. And we do have the budget for that we haven't used. So that's something else to consider. There's some other elements, but just really, truly helping make it as more foot traffic, more activity, more bike friendly, more pedestrian friendly. I'd love to see more people actually using that space and walking more frequently. So,
Recently, though, I have seen a lot of people waiting for the buses.
Yeah.
And that is just fab. Every day I see big groups, 8, 10 people waiting for the buses in the URA district. And I think that's fabulous. I think.
and we could focus
Really?
around amenities around those areas too, in the pedestrian way
Mhm.
to make those areas more pleasant.
Yeah.
There's a bench that sits on the curb where your knees are in in the drive. Like there are some things that are just don't make a whole lot of sense as far as layout goes.
I would really support that because
okay.
watching the families, they're of all ages. And the other day, my husband and I were eating at Moe's and you could see out and there were older people standing, waiting. And that I would really support that.
Okay, that's totally within kind of my focus area too of making it more pedestrian friendly too. And the more shade, the more trees, it softens the it softens the built side, it breaks down, and it also makes it feel more habitable. The more shade you have, the less hot it gets, the more, all those elements too. And more biking friendly too. I would love to see it. My kid bikes down to the skate park like every other day, but he doesn't go that way because it's, he goes on the backside behind the pool a lot of times.
I just have one more question. What's going on at the old Castaways building?
Nothing right now. Nothing.
Because they keep taking stuff out.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there.
Okay.
Yeah, Lulu's was a real loss, but yeah, nothing really to speak of. I think they're just cleaning stuff up. Yeah.
So we have moved past the vision statement.
Sure.
We have.
I hate to make this here,
Sorry.
think through this.
I apologize.
So that's
Okay.
gone.
But
Yeah.
thank you.
But a list of priorities is beneficial.
It
Yes.
did, and it spurred a lot of good conversation around it, actually.
The other reason to have the list of priorities too is for the budget presentation to city council too. So having your list of priorities is really beneficial for me to tell them what you want to see. Barb?
Is there any other direction for Carol on annual reporting that we need to give any direction or input for as we approach year end?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Is there? I don't know anything about that.
And our annual report would be,
Yeah.
in the ensuing future, and I would think would highlight some of this ongoing work.
Absolutely. Now, so with the annual report, I haven't done an annual report yet. I've only been here since March and I don't know when those are due and what I did bring that up months ago, but I haven't revisited that.
Carol,
Do
do
you
you
want me
have a
to do an
timeline?
annual report?
For things that we publish.
Yeah, we've done one. Yeah, I've seen that in the archives, which is why I brought it up. Yeah, but I'm happy to do another one.
Probably November, December. January.
Okay.
And that's what I would say, is just about the year. It won't take long. Highlight.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just think we should emphasize some of these ongoing projects and get community interest and maybe a little jazzed up excitement about we're trying to move forward instead of getting a question from a citizen every day of what's going on.
Happy to. Absolutely. So let's say we will work on that for December. Okay, fantastic. That's great direction.
Microphone?
Oh, we have to do the city council.
Right, I was just put a new business, okay. And then, yes, Nancy?
I want to talk about the ballot initiative, the 2A that's coming up in in our election in November. And just some of the reasons why we considered on so very, very important that that passes. Our costs are going up and our revenues are going down with everybody else. But for instance, property and casualty insurance is going up by almost $500,000 this year, which was a shock when we got that. Utilities are going up by 6%. Medical insurance is going up 7%. So all our costs are going up significantly. Yet we're down 3.3 million in tax revenue between 2024 and 2025. So that's a huge reduction in our tax revenue. If we don't get additional revenue by the end of 2026, by the end of next year, we will only have 4 months of operating reserves to go into 2027, which is kind of makes us all very, very nervous. So we are working on a number of things. We reduced our 2025 budget in February by over $600,000. So I know I see a lot of stuff where the city wasn't planning for this and we're just spending like crazy and so on. And that is blatantly untrue. The city has known for many years that we would probably lose the marijuana tax revenue. We've been using a lot of that funding for deferred maintenance on infrastructure. quite honestly, I think we've been quite responsible with our budget, and it's unfortunate that it's so difficult to help people understand all the considerations that have gone into this particular ballot initiative. So I would ask you all to vote yes on it, and if I'm allowed to say that, and to educate other people in the city as much as possible about it. So does anyone have any questions on the ballot initiative? All right, so,
I just have one
Yeah.
comment. I spoke with someone that's volunteering to help with that campaign. And I did make a suggestion to her with, and I think you're getting a presentation at city council. But given, if the bond issue passes, I asked that they perhaps propose to the bond issuer, the financing entity, that those bonds be offered to Manitou residents. Because I think that would be a nice way.
are you talking about the school?
School.
Oh, I'm talking about the tax, different issue.
I thought we were talking about the school. a
No, I'm
moment ago.
sorry. The,
But anyway, that was
yeah,
my
yeah.
comment about the school, that the bonds could be issued publicly to Manitou residents as well to help support the school.
Yeah, and we don't get involved in the school bond initiative at all. That's a totally separate thing. What I was talking about was 2A, which is the increase in the entertainment tax, excise tax, right? Yeah.
Nancy, the town hall meeting that we went to was
Right.
fabulous. Are there going to be any more?
No, because now, once it becomes formalized, we are no longer able to engage and spend any city dollars on it. So, which is very frustrating. So, people ask us, so I shouldn't have said that. I hope you'll vote yes, but don't take that off the recording.
Now, is the meeting still on Zoom in the city site? Can that still be watched?
I would assume it is, but I'll check on that. and let you
That'd
know.
be great to know, because I really keep talking to our neighbors, and I really have encouraged them to go and watch it. Because I really do think it was a great presentation and really helpful.
Okay. All right, so in terms of other things that we've been working on, the parking fees, we did agree to implement parking fees for Shriver Park, the pool parking. And we did agree to have seasonal rates for the Dillon. So I anticipate that I'm not exactly sure what they're going to look like right now, but they'll be in our fee schedule. Oh, another thing we lost on was the electric billboard on Highway 24 right outside of Red Rock Canyon. We did send a letter to the county commissioners, and a couple of the counselors went down and presented, and were, I would say, not well received at all by the county commissioners. So that was most unfortunate, because we were very much against that. And then there's a lot, we've been getting a lot of feedback about ordinance 1825, which I think that there was a lot, which is basically to allow for a fine for contractors and homeowners who do not get permits for work. And there's a lot of misunderstanding on both the community as well as the council. That is, if you look in the bigger title, what we're incorporating is Title 12.4. Ordinance 12.4, and if you look at it as in the context of the larger Title 12, it only applies to sidewalks, streets, and so on. So it only will be impacted if there's major excavation work on your property that impacts city property or your neighbors. So if you're building a retaining wall, that will fall into your neighbor's yard. That you need to get a permit for. And we did agree to $1,000 fine. Anyway, the second reading on that is for tonight, but there was a tremendous amount of misunderstanding, like I said, by everybody on that, including us. So hopefully that'll be well clarified this evening. And other than that, does anyone have any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Oops, okay. Thank you, Nancy. All right, let's move on to other business. Is there any other business that anybody would like to raise at this time? Good. All right, moving on then to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? Everybody said.
Wait, who's the
I saw
adjournment?
Ann's hand go up, but I heard Barb.
And who was second? I saw you both at the same.
I heard Alan mumble and.
Okay, and
Let's give it to Alan.
sure. I will send out those notes immediately too, and I'll get this done. as
Very
well.
good. This motion,
apologize.
meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Another stumbly bumbly led meeting by Farley. I need a nap. Calculator. I gotta get to work.
Encouraging stuff about time. And having other options in case.
Fantastic. I will hold off on anything until you tell me exactly the one that we need. That sounds great. Thank you.
How are you? I'm good. How are you doing? I'm good, good. So if you and I want to get together and figure out, so last time we did an annual report, and the reason we don't do it every year. Last time we did one, it's always, we mailed it out. We're gonna mail it out. Okay. We didn't do that many. It doesn't have to be long. I think we just need to talk about like who we want it to go to. And I mean, I know you want it to be available for everybody.
It could be online.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
that's
thinking.
probably the best just because of the cost of it.
Yeah, we'll just create it as a PDF.
Yeah,
I think that's
fine.
fine. Yeah, okay, I think that makes
would be
sense.
fine.
And then I met with Danielle to talk to her about what they're
Yes.
doing. So what she presented you today, she and I talked about.
Good.
Yes. I think there's an interesting story and I'm just kind of trying to figure out, because the story is more hers than ours. Like, she's, I mean, it's.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I think the cool story is like, it's a young group, they're investigating it too, they're leveraging this stuff. But I just, before I did too much, I wanted to make sure you were okay with me putting out a story about the El Colorado.
No,
With
that's
us
what
being
I,
a footnote.
no, that's what I was hoping
Perfect.
for.
Okay.
And here's the other place that I'm hoping for. Thank you so much, Barb. Take care. Here's what I'm hoping for with El Colorado is, I think that could use some more additional.
When I
financially.
So,
So, so what I'm hoping for is that I'd love to have like a